Hello and welcome to Pep Tech Talks. Keep liking and subscribing to the channel to get more new upcoming videos. If you are here, that means you are ready to step into the world of cybersecurity and things get serious from here on. I am serious, but I am not boring when it comes to cybersecurity. Social engineering is a technique used by malicious actors to exploit human vulnerabilities to gain access to sensitive information or systems. It involves manipulating people into divulging confidential information or performing actions that could compromise security. While social engineering attacks can take many forms, they all rely on the ability to deceive and manipulate people. Rather than relying on technical expertise, it involves exploiting human psychology rather than technical skills to gain unauthorized access to sensitive data or systems. Social engineering can be broken down into two main categories: human based and computer based. Human based social engineering involves direct interactions between the attackers and the target, such as through phone calls, in-person meetings, or email exchanges. Computer-based social engineering, on the other hand, relies on technology to deceive and manipulate the target, such as through phishing emails, malwares, or fake sites. Social engineering attacks can be highly effective because they exploit human vulnerabilities such as trust, fear, and curiosity. For example, a hacker might pose as a trusted authority figure, such as a bank representative or a company executive, to gain the trust of the target and convince them to reveal sensitive information. Alternatively, they might use fear or urgency to pressure the target into taking action, such as clicking on a download link or a malware link. Preventing social engineering attacks requires a multi-layered approach that addresses both technical and human vulnerabilities. For example, organizations can implement security software and policies to protect against malware and other computer-based attacks. They can also provide training and awareness programs to educate employees about the risks of social engineering and how to recognize and respond to suspicious activity. Overall, the social engineering is a complex and multifaceted threat that requires a deep understanding of human psychology and technological vulnerabilities. By remaining vigilant and taking proactive steps to protect against social engineering attacks, individuals and organizations can reduce the risk of becoming victims of these increasingly sophisticated threats. Exploiting emotions is a common tactic used in social engineering to manipulate people into revealing confidential information and performing actions that could compromise security. By playing on emotions such as fear, curiosity, greed, or compassion, actors can gain the trust of their targets and convince them to take actions that they might not otherwise take. Some ways of emotions that can be exploited: fear, which is a powerful emotion that can be used to pressure people into taking action. For example, an attacker might send an email warning of a security breach and urging the target to click on a link to change their password. The fear of being hacked could compel the target to take immediate action without thinking it through. Curiosity. Humans are naturally curious, and attackers can use this to their advantage. For example, an attacker might send a phishing email with a subject line that piques the target's interest, such as "You won a prize" or "exclusive access to a new product." The curiosity could lead the target to click on a link or provide personal information. Greed is another powerful emotion that attackers can exploit. For example, an attacker might offer a tempting reward such as a free gift card or promise of a job offer in exchange for the target's personal information or login credentials. An attacker might also try to appeal to target's sense of compassion, for example, by posing as a charity and asking for donation. Target's desire to help others could lead them to donate money or provide personal information. To protect against emotional manipulation in social engineering attacks, it's important to be aware of the tactics that attackers use and to always be cautious when receiving unsolicited messages or requests for information. It's also essential to have strong security measures in place, such as multi-factor authentication and up-to-date antivirus software, to prevent attackers from gaining access to systems or data, even if they are able to manipulate individuals. Types of social engineering. There are various types of social engineering attacks, each exploiting different human vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access to sensitive information or system. Here are some of the common types. Phishing is a common type of attack where attackers use email, text messages, or social media messages to trick people into giving away their personal information, such as password or credit card numbers. The messages may look like they are from trusted source such as bank, but actually lead the victim to a fake website where their information is collected. Pretexting is another type of attack where an attacker creates a fake scenario or a pretext to trick the victim into revealing sensitive information. Example, an attacker might pose as a vendor or service provider and ask for victim's login credential to troubleshoot a problem. Baiting. This is a type of attack where the attacker offers something enticing to the victim in exchange of information or access. For example, an attacker might leave a USB drive labeled confidential in a public area, hoping that someone will pick it up and plug it into their computer, infecting it with malware. Scareware. This is a type of attack where the attacker uses pop-up windows or other scary messages to convince the victim that their computer is infected with a virus and they need to download or purchase software to fix it. In reality, the software is malware that infects the victim's computer. Tailgating. This is a type of attack where the attacker follows the victim into the restricted area, such as office building, without authorization. The attacker might pretend to be an employee or a delivery person to gain entry. Watering hole. This is a type of attack where the attacker infects a website that the victim is likely to visit, such as popular news site or social media platform, with malware. When the victim visits the site, they unwittingly download the malware onto their computer. Social engineering attacks can be highly effective because they rely on exploiting human vulnerabilities such as trust, curiosity, and fear. Preventing these types of attacks requires a combination of user education, technical controls, and policies and procedures. It's important to regularly update and reinforce security training, implement strong passwords and multi-factor authentication, and monitor for suspicious activities to protect against social engineering attacks. Let's talk about some well-known examples of social engineering attacks that have been successful in the past. The Nigerian scam, also known as the 419 scam. This type of social engineering attack involves an email or letter from someone claiming to be a wealthy Nigerian prince or government official who needs help transferring money out of the country. The victim is promised a percentage of the money in exchange of their assistance, but in reality they are tricked into giving money to the scammer. Spear phishing. This is a targeted form of phishing where attackers use personal information to craft convincing emails that appear to come from trusted source such as colleagues or a company executive. For example, an attacker might send an email to an employee in the finance department posing as CEO and requesting a wire transfer to a fraudulent account. Pretexting. In this type of social engineering attack, the attacker creates a false scenario or pretext to gain victims' trust and extract sensitive information. Like, an attacker might call a customer service representative and pose as a distraught customer who needs their account password reset. Baiting. This type of attack involves leaving a physical or a digital bait in a public area such as a USB hard drive or a fake Wi-Fi hotspot. When someone takes the bait, they unwittingly download malware onto their computer. CEO fraud. This type of attack involves impersonating a company executive to trick employees into transferring money or sensitive information. For example, an attacker might pose as a CEO and send an email to finance department requesting an urgent wire transfer to a fraudulent account. Now let's talk about some of the attacks and breaches that made news. Target data breach. In 2013, attackers gained access to the payment card information of over 40 million target customers. The attack was initiated through a phishing email sent to an HVAC company that did business with Target. The email contained a malicious attachment that, when opened, installed malware on the HVAC company's system. The attackers used this access to gain entry to Target's network and steal customer data. Snapchat spear phishing. In 2016, a phishing attack targeted Snapchat employees using a fake mail from CEO Ivan Spiegel. The email requested employee payroll information, which was then used to create fake identities and file fraudulent tax returns. The attack affected over 700 current and former employees. IRS phone scam. In this scam, attackers pose as IRS agents and call victims, threatening them with arrest or legal action if they do not immediately pay outstanding taxes. The attackers demand payment in the form of gift card or wire transfer. This scam has been ongoing for several years and has targeted thousands of victims. Operation Fish Fry. In 2009, the FBI arrested 100 individuals involved in a phishing scam that had targeted banks and financial institutions. The attackers had used social engineering techniques to trick victims into revealing their login credential, which were then used to steal money from their accounts. BitPayer ransomware. In 2019, a ransomware attack hit the city of Edcouche, Texas, causing widespread disruption to city services. The attackers had gained access to the city's network through a phishing email sent to a city employee. The email contained a malicious attachment that, when opened, installed the BitPayer ransomware on the city's network. A phishing social engineering attack occurred in 2016 when attackers targeted the Gmail accounts of high-profile individuals, including political figures, activists, and journalists. The attack involved a convincing and highly targeted phishing email that appeared to come from Google, asking the recipient to click on a link to view a shared Google Doc. When the recipient clicked on the link, they were directed to a page that appeared to be a legitimate Google login page. The page prompted the user to enter their Google login credentials, which were then captured by the attackers. The attackers were then able to access the victim's Gmail account and, in some cases, use it to send further phishing emails to the victim's contacts. This attack was successful in part because it was highly targeted and appeared to come from trusted source like Google. The attackers also used social shared documents, engineering techniques, etc. A phishing social engineering attack occurred in 2016 when attackers targeted the Gmail accounts of high-profile individuals, including political figures, activists, and journalists. The attack involved a convincing and highly targeted phishing email that appeared to come from Google, asking the recipient to click on a link to view a shared Google Doc. When the recipient clicked on the link, they were directed to a page that appeared to be a legitimate Google login page. The page prompted the user to enter their credentials, which were then captured by the attackers. The attackers were then able to access the victim's Gmail account and, in some cases, use it to send further phishing emails to the victim's contacts. This attack was successful in part because it was highly targeted and appeared to come from trusted source like Google. The attackers also used social engineering tactics such as urgency. The email claimed that the shared document was important, and curiosity. The email did not specify what the shared document was to entice the recipient to click on the link. Another example of a pretexting social engineering attack occurred in 2017 when attackers impersonated a high-ranking executive at a multinational tech company to trick an employee into transferring money to an external account. The attack involved a carefully crafted pretext that used social engineering tactics to gain the trust of the employee. These all demonstrate the importance of implementing strong security measures such as multi-factor authentication, regular security training, and monitoring for suspicious activity to protect against social engineering attacks. We will see the prevention measures. So when you observe this image, you will see various indicators will tell you whether it's a phishing email or not. The subject on the tops reads status, your package is ready to ship, and then a set of weird characters with the exclamation symbol. Then there is a link, click here. Generally, click here doesn't come with a link. It might be a button or something, but it is wrongly placed. The image has the name IPS. I'm not sure if IPS exists as a company who delivers packages, but UPS is there for sure, which is again a little different from what I am aware of. Another pointer that I have is there is something of urgency. It says we were unable to deliver your parcel as there was no one present to sign for the delivery. So you have to be aware if any of your family member saw anyone coming or visiting anyone coming your house that day when you receive this email. Then there is another click here button. So generally in an email there is one click here, there is a link on the top, there is a button at the bottom with a icon on the right side of a search, so it doesn't match what it says. So what am I supposed to search here? It's not a box. And at the bottom there is another click here which says to unsubscribe. So these are a couple of things which you might observe and you might feel that it is off and it doesn't set up. Another thing is the email is a Gmail account. So if it is UPS or IPS or any delivery company, why are they sending from a Gmail account? There are several prevention measures that can be taken to protect against social engineering attacks. Education and awareness. Employees should be trained on the different types of social engineering attacks, how they work and how to recognize and respond to them. Regular security awareness training can help employees become more vigilant and better prepared to identify and report suspicious activity. Implement strong password policies. Passwords are often the first line of defense against social engineering attacks. Implementing strong password policies such as requiring long and complex passwords and regular password changes can make it more difficult for attackers to guess or crack passwords. Multi-factor authentication or MFA adds an extra layer of security by requiring users to provide additional proof of identity beyond just a password. MFA can include factors such as fingerprint, smart card, one-time code sent to the user's phone. Use security software. Antivirus, anti-malware software can help protect against social engineering attacks by detecting and blocking malicious software that can be used in an attack. Creating incident response plan. Having a clear plan in place can help mitigate the impact of a social engineering attack and minimize the damage. The plan should include steps for identifying and containing the attack, notifying the appropriate authorities, and communicating with customers and employees. Verify requests. Always verify requests for sensitive information or transactions, especially if they come from unexpected or unusual source. This can include verifying the identity of a requester through a separate channel, such as a phone call or in-person visit. By implementing these prevention measures, organizations can better protect themselves against social engineering attacks and reduce the risk of data breaches, financial loss, and reputational damage. One real-life example of social engineering prevention that occurred in 2020 involved Twitter. In July 2020, Twitter experienced a high-profile security incident where several high-profile accounts were compromised as part of a social engineering attack. The attackers targeted employees through a phone spear phishing campaign, tricking them into revealing their credentials. However, a notable example of social engineering prevention occurred when Twitter took immediate action to mitigate the attack and prevent further compromise. They quickly disabled the compromised accounts, blocked access to internal systems, and launched an investigation into the incident. They quickly did all the steps and also implemented additional security measures and safeguards to prevent future social engineering attacks. They strengthened their authentication process, enforced stricter access controls, and provide additional training to the employees regarding phishing and social engineering threats. This incident served as a reminder to companies about the importance of robust security measures, employee awareness, proactive response strategies, multi-factor authentication, and other methods of prevention as discussed before for against any social engineering attacks. If you liked the video, please click on the like button and leave me a thumbs up, and also please kindly subscribe to the channel. Thank you.